What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. Check them out. But first, welcome back to another episode of Debunking Anti Gunners. That's right. I got two of them today for y'all. I got two. Not one, not three, two. All right. So let's get right into it. You read the title. You saw the thumbnail. All right. So on this episode of Debunking Anti Gunners, if we have to require a license to drive, we should require a license to carry, or at least, yeah, I think I put carry, or I put carry a gun. It was one of the two. Sorry, guys. I'm having one of those days, but I'm excited for this video. This video, I've heard this argument actually a good few times throughout the last couple of years, especially when people are talking about constitutional carry, things along those lines. And you know, there's a couple of key differences I'd like to point out that completely debunk that entire argument. And I know it debunks it because I've had this argument plenty of times with plenty of people. So let's get right into it. So first off, in order to get your driver's license, all right, you have to demonstrate a proficiency in driving. That's just the truth of the matter here. You have to demonstrate a certain level of proficiency in driving. You take the test, you demonstrate it, you get your license, bada boom, bada bing, right? All right. Now, for your concealed carry license, if you're not in a free state, and a concealed carry license, you have to, in some cases, actually almost all cases, go to a training class, get a certificate. Then you have to go to, for example, in Florida, we'll say that in Florida we have the Department of Agriculture who handles the concealed carry licenses. You have to go to them, you have to pay a fee, have them run the background check. Then if you pass, then they get it sent to you after a certain amount of time. It's ridiculous. It's something really dumb. However, here's where it starts to become an issue, right? You saw how many more steps getting the concealed carry license was than, the driver's license. And you can make the argument, oh yeah, well, it's a gun. You can shoot people with it. So the fuck what? It's a car. I can run people over with it. Do you guys not remember? Well, I think it was, late 2021, the Waukesha parade? Where the dude just ran through I believe it was some Black Lives Matter dude or some like black supremacist dude. He just ran down a bunch of people in a parade. Do y'all not remember that? I mean, I can pull up countless videos of people getting ran over. That's just the truth of the matter here. It happens a lot more often than people would like to think. But people get ran over all the time. I know people personally who have gotten ran over. I know like 5 people actually. It's weird how many people I've met, and I've met them prior to them getting ran over too. And they're just like, yeah, bro, I got ran over. What? You good? Yeah, bro, my jaw is fucked up. What the hell? You see what I mean? It's very common to, for people to get run over by, these sometimes 1 ton, even more pound vehicles. You got to think about that. And there's so many less steps that are required to There's so many less steps that are required to get this license to operate vehicles like that compared to just operating a handgun, which if you want the truth, I hate to be the person to break it to y'all. You can teach an 8-year-old how to operate a handgun safely. As long as you know what you're doing and they listen properly, you will be able to teach them how to operate a handgun perfectly fine. Safely, much better than a majority of the hoodlums that you'll see on, for example, YouTube Shorts. You see what I mean? So the truth of the matter is that when you compare, when you're just trying to compare, oh yeah, we should have a license for this and we should, because we require a license for that. You're trying to act like they're on the same playing field as well. And that's where we go into a whole separate issue. And this is honestly the bigger issue that people aren't really acknowledging. Driving is not a right. Driving is not a constitutional right. Having the right to keep and bear arms is. So no matter how you guys feel, the truth of the matter is that, well, here's a perfect example. My older brother, right? My older brother suffers from seizures, all right? So what that means is that he cannot get a driver's license. If he gets behind the wheel of a car, he might be held criminally liable. You see what I mean? That's only because he has seizures. a privilege was taken from him. But guess the fuck what? Just because he has seizures does not mean that they're taking his Second Amendment right away. That's not how it works. Driving is a privilege. Oh yeah, well, why shouldn't they take his guns away? Because what do seizures have to do with his fucking guns? You're comparing a privilege to a right. A privilege can be taken. That's whatever. A privilege can get taken. You get too many DUIs. All right, your license, hell, if you get one, I believe, your license is gone for a while. That's just how it works. Driving is a privilege. The right to keep and bear arms is a right. There's no other way to, make this distinction that can just be as clear as that. When you are comparing a privilege to a right, you honestly have just lost all integrity for your argument. You lost all credibility, and it just shows the level of, I guess it just shows the lack of knowledge on the subject. Because let's say, for example, right, I look at people and I'm like, well, there are people who, they're out there, there are some actually racist people out there, people that are actually racist. And even though they're very few, and it's like, one in like 100,000 type thing, a very few select, I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody you're never allowed to speak again. You can't speak again. None of y'all are ever going to be able to speak again because some dude over here, did something that I don't like. That you see what I mean? None of it makes sense. And I know some of y'all are sitting there like, what the fuck? Yeah, because that shit doesn't make sense. To compare needing a license to drive, that being required, to the right to carry a gun. Well, let's make this 100% clear, by the way. Y'all do understand that the Supreme Court ruled that the Second Amendment does extend to protecting oneself outside of their home, right? So this includes concealed carrying. Concealed carrying is a right. It literally, the reason why constitutional carry is called constitutional carry is because it follows the words of the Constitution to the T when it comes to it. There are no restrictions when it comes to carrying. It has not been written in the Second Amendment. Why is that? Because it says shall not be infringed. It is the only right that says that. That's something that people don't ever seem to understand. It is the only right that says that. And you might hear some people say, well, it also says well-regulated. Well-regulated just meant working back then. That's the truth of the matter here. Like if you look it up, constitutional scholars have talked about it several times, and they've openly said that when they wrote the Second Amendment and they were referring to well-regulated, they meant one that operates, one that can operate, meaning it's functioning. So what does that mean? That means my gun, by the standards, well, not by the standards, by the definition of how they use the word well-regulated, my gun is well-regulated because it is very much so functioning. That's a problem that people don't seem to understand here, is that there's a lot of issues to this argument. That's one of the issues here. There's a lot of problems when you try comparing a privilege to a right. There's nothing in the Constitution that says you have the right to automobiles. You have the right to be able to drive. You have the right to, to be able to move around places fast. That's never been a right to anybody, because that's never been an act. God, I can't even believe I'm having to say this here. Oh, God. Sometimes I get annoyed when I do these debunking anti-gunners. Why, you might ask? Because it genuinely makes me question how dumb a majority of the people who really think this shit are. Like some of these people, they claim to be the smartest people out there, but then they compare shit like driving to being able to own guns. Being able to own guns is an actual right. This is something I cannot stress enough. The right to keep and bear arms is written in our Constitution. It's only a privilege to drive. It is just a privilege. To compare the two is ludicrous. To even try to think that, this is something that, we have to require a license to, to operate this ton or more vehicle, but we need a license for this too, because they're very similar. Yeah, All right, buddy. Whatever you say. It's completely stupid. I know I've said it 100 times already in this video, but comparing a right to a privilege will never make sense for an argument. That's like, for example, the privilege of having all this shit right here, to be able to do these videos for you guys, right? That's like comparing that to my First Amendment right, essentially saying, oh yeah, well, if I can't have this, that means I just can't do my videos. No, that's not how this works. You guys have seen before I do my videos without it. I've done it plenty of times. It's just, oh, God. When you hear it, you genuinely believe that people are just dumb. But part of me also thinks, maybe they're just not that dumb. Maybe they know what they're doing. Maybe they know, hey, if we try to make this, to a point of, oh, yeah, well, you have to demonstrate this level of proficiency with a firearm. You have to do all of these extra steps. And even in cases like, for example, with the state of New York, we've seen even after people will demonstrate their proficiency with a firearm, go through all the steps that they need to go through, they still won't get their permit sometimes. The truth of the matter is that we're talking about a right that has been being infringed on forever. And now over half the country has woken up to the fact that it's been being infringed on and said, we've had enough of it. So we're going to say that you can just carry a gun whenever the fuck you want to, however you want to, because that's what the Constitution says. For anybody who seems to disagree with me at any point in this video, especially about the main topic, if you want to sit here and argue about the little things, the little rants I go off, whatever. But especially about the actual main topic of the video, I want one of y'all to show me where in the Constitution it says that we have the right to drive. Tell me where it says we have the right to drive, because last I checked, by definition, that is a privilege. That is not a right. The Second Amendment is a right. Now, with that being said, y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all. And if you agree with me, make sure to check out all my other videos. If you don't agree with me, make sure to check out all my other videos as well. Why not? Let's see if I can brainwash you, hopefully. Why not? With that being said, y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.